Here in France, former culture minister Jack Lang has resigned as president of the Arab World Institute. He did so over mounting pressure calling for him to step aside after his name appeared 673 times in the latest batch of released Jeffrey Epstein files. France's financial prosecutor said on Friday that it had begun an investigation into Lang and his daughter Caroline for aggravated money laundering linked to tax fraud. For more on this, we can welcome Shirli Sitbon from our international news desk. So, Shirli, what more can you tell us about this investigation?
Well, they're still looking into it because the documents have just been released. What's really in them? For now, we don't know that there's anything illegal that has been done. So the first thing that the prosecutors here in Paris are looking into are the potential financial transactions. Of course, Jack Lang and his daughter say they've done nothing wrong, but they did have some ties with Jeffrey Epstein. And among them is this offshore company that Caroline Lang, the daughter of Jack Lang, started with Jeffrey Epstein, offshore company worth 1.4 million euros was put in them by Jeffrey Epstein. And Jack Lang has found out, it wasn't declared to local tax authorities here in France, so that's a problem. And Jack Lang's name is in the statutes of that company, and he says he wasn't aware of this. So now the investigators are trying to look into if they made any money out of this, if there's anything illegal that has been done. That's the first thing. Then there are other things. For example, Jack Lang asked Jeffrey Epstein, he asked him for money so a movie could be made on Jack Lang to promote his career, his legacy. Jeffrey Epstein gave that money. But Jack Lang says, well, that's just a common thing. Many rich people give money to make movies. There's nothing illegal in that. And it's true. Also, there's a house that's been sold. Jeffrey Epstein wanted to buy a house in Marrakesh. Apparently, he wanted to get more assets into Morocco. And Jack Lang had friends selling a house in Marrakesh, and he put them in connection. Now, prosecutors want to know if he made any money without declaring it, Jack Lang, in that process. Jack Lang said, nothing at all. I just gave one name of one friend to another friend. Nothing wrong with that. He also asked Jeffrey Epstein for for traveling in his plane, his private jet, also car travel in France. He also, something that concerns his daughter, but not Jack Lang, is the fact that Jeffrey Epstein in his will, he gave her 5 million euros. She said she never even heard about this, which is also, of course, possible. So those are some of the things that they'll be looking into. That's on the legal aspect. Of course, we're also thinking about if anything was given in exchange for all that money, potentially. And also, there's also the ethical issue, but the prosecutors are not necessarily going to look into that. But all these connections, these ties were made when Caroline Lang said that she was aware that Jeffrey Epstein had been convicted in 2008. So yes, for sex crimes, Jack Lang says he was never aware of that.
Now, Shirli, in looking at these documents, you say that they also show that Epstein was able to work his way into reach families in power here in France. So what more do we know about that?
It's really interesting, actually, when you look at all of these messages, all of these documents. You see, for example, about a dozen, perhaps even more documents just about Caroline Lang's pool, the fact that she goes to the pool, and Jeffrey Epstein says, well, I'm going to pay your yearly prescription. I'm going to pay for your year in your pool. He asked his secretaries to contact her to tell her that. Why? Well, it shows that after that email, there were other emails, then they met, they had other connections, they ate together. He said, well, could your father bring in that friend to that dinner so I can meet him? You can see various things. In this message, actually, pretty interesting. This is an award that was supposed to be given for an architecture prize, and Jeffrey Epstein had a friend, and he wanted this award to be given out by President Macron in France at the Élysée Palace. And so a few emails, until Jack Lang understood what they wanted. And indeed, at the end, the ceremony was held in the Élysée Palace. Macron did give a speech. There was also a party at Versailles. So, yeah, the question is, what was the influence of Jeffrey Epstein? Was it meaningful? Was it this whole process legal? But it's very interesting to see how this works out because, not just talking about Jack Lang and his daughter, but various people he was exchanging with. Well, we see that he got introduced into families, he gave money, and also he used pressure, sometimes blackmail. And for what ends, what means, this is what we'll be learning in months to come.
Shirli, thank you so much for keeping us updated on this. I'm sure there's be more to come. That's Shirli Sitbon from our International Affairs.